Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. It's your man, Big Jones, the Juggernaut. And just a friendly reminder, I am using Lucky 13 Tattoo Balm, all natural tattoo aftercare products this week. If you didn't see before, I am using it this week, so there is a discount code. If you guys want to try it out for yourself, just type in Big Jones Big Life at the discount box when you go to checkout, and you guys get 25% off. So I'm using it this week. I'll be totally honest with you, I'm not blown away yet. I mean, I like to be a people pleaser and tell you that, yeah, it works great, but I mean, I used another tattoo balm before I started using this, and it's just okay. I mean, I'm going to keep using it until it runs out, and I'll give you guys my honest opinion, but give it a try for yourself. Type in the code Big Jones Big Life at the checkout, and you get 25% off of Lucky 13 Tattoo Aftercare. So I don't know all the YouTube parameters just yet. I don't even have 1,000 followers yet. I appreciate those of you who do watch me, but I don't know all the YouTube parameters yet. I've heard from other YouTubers that you're not supposed to mention, the demon virus, the C word, but I don't know. But anyway, that's what I want to talk about today. I live in Southern California, and from what I've heard over the last couple of weeks, it sounds like, the demon virus is ramping up again. It sounds like states are starting to go into the red again, if you follow that little map, and it's starting to get bad. I haven't heard if the death toll is starting to go up again. I certainly hope not. But basically today, I just wanted to talk about my experience with COVID. And it starts with me telling you that I made a video about a year ago that was completely wrong, obviously, because I think the video is even entitled Coronavirus is BS, and clearly it's not. So, in this society where it seems like people can never take responsibility for the dumb stuff that they say, I want to just come right out and tell you I said something dumb. At the time, I guess it was more wishful thinking. I was just hoping that coronavirus was not real and that it was, I think the example I used was it was like Zika that didn't really affect too many people in the U.S., and it just kind of ended up being a non-event. I guess I was just hoping that it was going to be like that. Well, turns out that it's not, clearly. So I want to put it out there. For me, I was wrong about what I said. I'm not even going to take that video down because it just shows that how ignorant I was, and I hope nobody took me seriously back then, because I think only like 20 people watched it, but good, because I was totally wrong about that. So, but I thought it'd be a good opportunity to talk about my experience with it because, as fate would have it, I actually did come up with coronavirus. So, and it was a really, really crazy experience. So I know a lot of you guys out there probably had it. Some of you got sick. Some of you ended up in the hospital. Some people were completely asymptomatic and nothing ever happened. But I could see how people could watch that video and think, oh, he's an anti-vaxxer, he's a conspiracy nut. I'm absolutely not. I'm actually, I just got my first shot last week. The military did mandate it, but I was going to get it anyway. I just been putting it off for some reason. I'm not sure why, but I don't know. I was putting it off like I put off a lot of things in life, but I am going to get vaccinated. I've already got my first shot, so that's not what this is about. I just wanted to kind of tell you what my experience was, because it was a really weird cycle of events. Let's go all the way back to, right now it's almost mid-September in 2021. Let's take it all the way back to March. So back in March of 2021, I was set to get out of the Navy at the end of April. So I only had a couple of little weeks left, or maybe a month and a half left. So I end up going on terminal leave. It wasn't even terminal leave. It was like house hunting leave. Like they gave me like I got basically like 20 days for free because I thought I was getting out. So I got like a house hunting leave, and then I got like a job hunting leave, and I got those things, and it was actually like free time off, so it was great. So I was taking it, and it always seems to happen like this. When you get time off, then that's when you get sick. It's never when you actually do have to be at work that you get sick and you have a legitimate reason to not come to work. No, it's when you are off that you start feeling like crap. So it started off, it wasn't so bad. That March, we had taken the family to Las Vegas. We stayed for a weekend in Las Vegas. We stayed at the Rio, and it was like the first time we'd taken the kids on like a road trip since they're a little bit older now. They were 5 years old at the time. My son's a teenager. And so we thought it'd be nice. Hey, let's just take a little weekend tour. We drove out from SoCal to Las Vegas. It's a few hours drive, and we stayed. We had a good time, showed the kids some stuff. It was their first time really being there, and we stayed for like 3 nights, and on the third night, I forget what happened, but my son had to be back in school, so we were like, oh, why don't we just leave, in the middle of the night. We'll leave at like 2 a.m. We'll miss the traffic. The kids can sleep in the car. We'll get them back in time for school. So, all right. And normally I would have protested because I was like, well, we could have one more whole day and we could, do some stuff. But actually I was feeling kind of gross. It was like I had like this weird headache. Like it was right behind my ears. Anybody who's had coronavirus can attest to that. I had this weird headache. It was right behind my ears and it was so annoying. My God. It was like just someone like constantly like putting pressure on the back of my ears, that little bony part behind your ear. It was weird like that. But, so we pack up the kids, we leave. I made it home just fine. I remember I had to take some Tylenol, which is different for me because I never take medication. I don't like taking meds. So, I take the dang Tylenol. We drive home, and like I said, I'm off for those couple of days. So I'm thinking to myself, and it's starting to get a little bit worse. So I'm thinking to myself, like, because we got kids and everything, I don't want them to get sick, so let me just go and get tested. I've been putting it off for a while anyway. Everybody, this is back when it was relatively new. It was coming up on like April. So I said, well, let me go ahead and just get the test. So at the hospital, we have the little drive-through. You probably have this, where you live too. The little drive-through where they just, they stick the thing up your nose and you go and you get tested. So wait a couple of days. It's like early April now, and I call my buddy at the hospital. Say, hey man, can you just check my results? He said, oh, your COVID results? Like, yeah. I was like, okay, no, you're negative. I'm like, oh, great. So that's perfect. So whatever I'm dealing with is just the flu or cold or something like that. So the headache is still persisting. It's annoying, but it's not stopping me from doing what I need to do because at the time we were trying to move. So, over the next couple of days, the bottoms of my feet start to go numb. The bottoms of my feet start to go numb, and I have these bumps on my face. Like, I thought maybe something bit me. I thought maybe something in that Las Vegas hotel, some dead hooker cells got into my face or something from one of the pillows. I don't know, but I mean, like, I got this breakout on my face and my feet are going numb and I got this headache and I'm like, whatever's going on here is really, really weird. And the numbness in my feet is getting bad. I mean, to the point where it feels like I'm walking on pins and needles. So I'm like, all right, well, I hate going to the doctor. So let's make an appointment. Let's figure it out. So go to the doctor and they tell me I've got shingles of all things. Like, really? Shingles? I mean, I just felt like I was a little young for shingles. I don't know. It was weird. But, they didn't really prescribe me anything. They said it goes away on its own. I'm like, all right, fine, fair enough. So I go home, but they're worried about the bumps on my face because one of them is kind of close to my eye. So I said, okay, well, what should I do about it? It's like, well, obviously don't scratch it, but we're going to schedule an appointment with ophthalmology, and they're going to take a look at it just to make sure it's not impairing your vision. Well, I'm telling them it's not, but I mean, I'm not a doctor, so, I make the appointment. So I go, and that morning that I go to get my eye checked out, my hands start to go numb. My feet are still numb. The headache is still persisting. And now my feet are numb, or my hands are numb, like the palms of my hands, almost like carpal tunnel-y kind of feeling. And I'm like, okay, this is weird. It's obviously connected, It's, I'm doing what you guys would probably do. I'm Googling, COVID symptoms and all that. And it did say something about, numbness and tingling in the extremities. But remember, I tested negative. I got my test. It said it was negative. So I don't know what this could be. It's really strange. So hands are numb, feet are numb, this thing on my face, and the headache. So I'm starting to wig out a little bit because all these symptoms are piling on. I have no idea what it is, but I know it's not COVID. So I'm sitting in the ophthalmology clinic, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to make another appointment because this is really getting out of control. While I'm sitting waiting for my appointment, I forget how I figured it out, but I'm sitting there and I'm just kind of like, doing, you like do this with your face or something like that. And I'm noticing the left side of my face isn't responding like the right. And I'm like, wait, what? So I try to close my eyes real tight, and I notice that my left eye isn't closing all the way. It's going like this. While the other one can go like that, this one is going like this. Same thing with my face. Like I try to smile, and the left side of my face isn't working. I mean, it's working, but it's not. It's noticeably weaker on the left side. So anyone who knows anything about medicine will tell you, like, what does that sound like? Stroke. I'm like, oh, shit. Now I've got, because I've got the history of the blood clots and stuff. I'm like, oh, shit, I'm having a stroke. God damn it. So, I mean, I haven't, been panicky like this in a long time. So I'm like, oh, shit. So I'm sitting in this clinic, and I'm like, I jump up. And as soon as I jump up and go to leave, I'm like, I'm already at the hospital. I'm just going to go to the ER. So as I jump up to leave, the lady behind the desk says, Mr. Jones, we're ready for you. I'm like, I got to go. And I'm just hauling ass, in my street clothes. I'm just hauling ass down to the ER. So I run in, and, it's all COVID blocked off and everything. They got everything sectioned off. I got my mask on, and I'm like, hey, listen, I need to check in. And obviously, I work there. Everybody knows me. And like, really? What's going on? And I'm like, I pull my mask down. And I'm like, I think I'm having a stroke. And she goes, really? Like, she didn't even believe me. I'm like, really? I'm like, yeah, look. And I close my eyes and try to smile, like, oh yeah, I can see it. Okay. And if you're having a stroke, or they think you're having a stroke, they get you in there like in a snap. You're not going to be sitting in the waiting room very long if you think you're having a stroke. So they take my blood pressure, they get me right in, I answer a few questions, and they get me into this, into the shock trauma room, where they kind of have all hands on deck. They're making the announcement, stroke protocol, bed 15. I'm like, oh God, this is so embarrassing. So I'm sitting in there. I'm not in any pain, but I'm sitting in there, and the docs are looking at me, and, obviously I know all these guys, so it's like super awkward, but those guys are really professional. I mean, personally, I might not be big fans of all of them, but on a professional level, they are completely professional. So they're looking at me, what kind of meds are you taking? What's your medical history? What's going on? They're checking the balance on my arms and my feet. Can you feel this? Can you feel it? Like, yeah, I can feel it. It's just my face. My face isn't responding. And, first thing they asked me, like, have you, I don't think the vaccination was even that prevalent yet, but, they were asking me, like, have you had a COVID test? Like, yeah, I had a COVID test a couple of weeks ago, like maybe a month ago at this point. And I'm like, okay, well, and it was negative. Yeah, it was negative. So, okay. And we're going through all this stuff, and they're getting x-rays and blood pressures, and they're checking me out, and like, well, you seem healthy, everything seems okay, but yeah, I see the facial droop, so we're concerned about a stroke. So they get me into CT. They say, listen, we want to get you an MRI. We want to do all this stuff, so we may have to keep you overnight. And I'm texting my wife, like, babe, I had to go to the hospital. It's a long story. I'll let you know. I'm in the ER right now. And, obviously she's worried. So while I'm in there, they swab me again because it's protocol. So they swab me for COVID again. And it's just, everybody is showing up, and my chain of command is there. They heard that, I was in the hospital, and obviously I work there. I'm staff. So my chief shows up, my department head, my divo, my LPO, everybody is showing up. And I was like, oh shit, Jones is in the hospital? I'm Big Jones the Juggernaut. I'm not supposed to be in the hospital. I'm the Juggernaut, bitch. Don't you know who the hell I am? So, I'm in the ER. Everybody's concerned. Plus they know about, previous stuff that I've had, so they're just worried. But anyway, I make my way up to one of the wards. They say, hey, listen, we're going to have to hold you until we can get you that MRI for your brain just to make sure you're not having a stroke. At the moment, it doesn't look like you're in any immediate danger of having a stroke. It doesn't seem like you're having a stroke, but yeah, this is weird. So I get up to the ward, and I'm sitting in this room, and I let my wife know where I am, and a couple hours go by, and she comes up. So we're sitting there, and I'm showing her my face, and I'm like, I'm not wigging out, but I'm just somber because I'm like, this facial thing, it's got to be permanent. I mean, the neurological stuff like this, it doesn't just go away. I'm probably going to be like this for the rest of my life, and it's probably going to get worse. So I'm just like, I'm not even wigging out. I'm just sad because I'm like, this sucks, man. I mean, I'm not even 40, and I'm having all these medical issues, and I've never been sick before. So I tell the doctors about everything, they see the bumps on my face. They see, although at that point they'd almost kind of healed up, but the headache and the numbness. So my wife comes in, and we're just sitting there talking, and she's being a sweetheart. She's trying to reassure me, like, it's going to be okay. We're going to get through this. Don't worry about it. We'll figure out what's going on. And, the little corpsman is coming in and taking my blood pressure and asking me questions. I think they gave me some Tylenol for my headache. And no, they hadn't given me Tylenol for my headache yet. But I'm sitting there asking, like, oh man, this headache is killing me. I need something for it. I really need like a Tylenol or something. And I think I called them, said, hey, yeah, can I get something for my headache? And it took them like 30 minutes or maybe even longer to come back. And she finally did. And when she finally came back, she's wearing like full hazmat, the helmet, the PPE, the gown, the gloves, everything. And as soon as she walks in, I knew it. She walks in. Because before she came in, she just had a mask. Now she's got eye protection, head protection, respiratory protection, all the PPE, all the way down to her shoes. And I'm like, and I knew it. Like, I tested positive. Son of a bitch. So I'm looking at her. Me and my wife are both looking at her. I know. My wife doesn't know. And she's like, yeah, you tested positive for COVID. I'm like, fuck. And I wasn't even worried, like, oh, no, I'm going to be in the hospital sick and with pneumonia and all that. I'm worried because my wife has been in here. And I just kind of hung my head and I said, time for you to go, baby. And she said, what are you going to... But I can't just leave you. Like, you got to leave, baby. It's just, you can't do anything about it. You just got to get going. So we had kind of a tearful goodbye, and I ended up spending the worst 18 hours I've ever spent in any situation ever in that hospital. They didn't let me eat or drink anything until the next morning waiting on this MRI. And it was so shitty, man. I'll never forget. I'm begging them, like, please let me go home. Please, 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 please let me go home. Anything but this. This is terrible. Please. And they're like, oh, we just need to get this MRI. Like, I can do the MRI on an outpatient basis. It's obvious I'm not having a stroke. I'm like, okay, but we got to make sure. And I know they're just doing their job, but I mean, God, because I hadn't had anything to eat that morning when I came to the hospital. Now it's like 3 a.m., and I'm dying here, man. This headache is killing me, and they're giving me meds, but if you don't have anything in your stomach, it's not going to do as well. So it's just killing me. So I end up getting the MRI. They say there's no stroke. They said what I had with my face. They said it was Bell's palsy. They say Bell's palsy can be brought on by stress. It can be brought on, it could be. I think what it ended up being is that the COVID, I'm not sure when I got COVID because I got the negative test, and somewhere between then and a month between there, I'm not saying that can't happen, but it was just weird. Somewhere in there, I ended up actually getting coronavirus. So I think it was just I had a weakened immune system that, with the feet and the hands, because now all that stuff's gone, mostly. My hands and feet, they still tingle from time to time, but my facial thing is gone. The headache is gone, thankfully. But, I think I just had a weakened immune system from COVID, and that's caused all that. So I'm talking with my wife while I'm in the hospital. And I'm like, okay, baby, what are we going to do? I can get a hotel. I can just, get a budget lodge for, a week for however long it takes to quarantine. He's like, you're not doing that. We're going to set up the bedroom for you, and you can sit in there. There's a TV in there, and I'll bring you your food. And like, oh, baby, I don't want you waiting on me hand and foot like that. And like, baby, that's what your wife is for. And God bless her, man. God bless her to the moon and back. I don't know what I would do without her. She is incredible. So that's what I did for the next 10 days or so. They gave me some medicine. They gave me steroids for my face, and it came back. It took about a week, which doctors actually said was really, really impressive. They said usually Bell's palsy takes a couple of months to fully come back. It only took me about a week. So that was good. But I mean, that's what I did. I was in this room literally for 10 days straight, watching movies, watching Netflix. She brought me food, and till I got better. I mean, that was it. I mean, there were some mornings. I mean, the facial droop got worse before it got better. I mean, to the point where I couldn't close my eye all the way. She bought me an eye patch. I had to get an eye patch because I couldn't moisten my eye unless I held it down like this. I mean, I wish I had done this podcast while I was in there, but man, I was so depressed and just jacked up, man. And I mean, the pain wasn't so bad. I mean, it's just trying to basically will your body back into health. I mean, I would take these walks. I would walk up and down, obviously with my mask, and I tried to hoodie up like I'm a part of a leper colony or something, like I'm an outcast, I'm trying not to get anybody sick. So, I'm taking these walks. I'm in the room doing prison workouts, trying to do push-ups and sit-ups and just try to get some blood circulation going. And it was tough, but I mean, I imagine it was even tougher on my wife having to sleep out on that leather couch in the summertime, God bless her. So, but a week or so goes by. I think it was a week and a half. It was 10 days. And my symptoms start to resolve to the point where I can at least function, that was it. I mean, that's basically what happened. And, fast forward, 5 months later, now started the vaccination process. But that's pretty much what happened to me. And it was, I mean, I wouldn't wish that on anybody. I mean, I've been sick before, but those were just really, really weird symptoms. I mean, I've been sick for the length of time that I dealt with coronavirus, but those symptoms were just so unique and just so strange, and they haven't fully resolved. I mean, I still get a little bit of tingling in my hands and feet. I don't know what that's about, but it's definitely annoying. But thank God I had my wife with me, and we had our home and were able to quarantine here, and God bless her, she brought me food and just make sure, because she knows I'm a hard-headed son of a bitch, and she's like, are you taking your medicine? Are you taking it? Show me how many pills are left. Oh baby, I'm gonna take it, just give me a minute. You want your face to heal up? You want to heal up? You want to get better? I make fun of my wife, I do the Valley Girl voice that she hates, are you taking your medicine? Are you doing that? I don't understand why you don't just take the pills. The doctor told you to take the pills. You're always saying that you're not a doctor, but you know stuff. Why don't you just take the pills and stop being a pain in the ass? She hates that, but I mean, but she's right, and she's, it's my official foreign policy to never give a woman credit for anything, but I have to. I'm just kidding. But it's true, she took great care of me. I definitely would have made it through all that without her, because I was down in the dumps. So thankfully she was there, and I really, really hope for any of you out there who are going through any kind of illness that you have that kind of support system, because it really can make all the difference in the world. So if you're out there, get vaccinated, because I would hate for anybody to have to go through what I went through. So take the damn shot. I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast today. Like, share, and subscribe to BJBL Unleashed on YouTube. Follow me on Instagram while you're at it. Don't forget to check out Lucky 13 Tattoo Balm. I will see you guys real soon for more Unleashed.